far as the universal consciousness that we're all a part of, if I'm right.
Well, hopefully. I think we're all working on waking up, and it's also difficult. I'm guessing in an area, because I've taught in Texas a little bit, and of course every area has a wide variety of sections and people. But what I'm imagining is in very heavily conservative areas, there's a tendency for people to hold on to what they know. Change is very uncomfortable. Sure. And so I have a lot of compassion for people who are very conservative, because in order for us really to survive and thrive, we need to do big change. We need to change so many of our policies. We need to change our dependency on foreign oil. We need to change our relationship to the third world. We need to change our relationship to Mother Earth, to Gaia. And change is hard. And change is even harder if you live in a conservative area. So God bless you for being an agent of change. God bless you for, as a soul, choosing to be in a more conservative area where hopefully you can make it safe for people to see the beauty of change and to feel safe to change.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely have done the best that I can since awakening about 4 years ago or so, and I just want to share that, my entire life I've always been striving for a higher level. As just a young child, I wasn't raised in church or raised in any kind of a spiritual atmosphere, but I was raised with morals and I was raised with values, and the understanding that there was a greater good that a person should try to attain. And so from a very young age, I found my way into church, and I graduated through different denominations of Christianity, and then eventually studying some different religions and different spiritual ideas as an older adolescent. And then now at 27 years old, I have 2 children. I've been married for 8 years, run a fairly successful company, and have had the opportunity to see different parts of the world and different ideas out there. I run a blog right now. I just want to plug that, if I may.
Yeah.
It's Truth Max. That's TRUTHMAX .blogspot.com, and truthmax.blogspot.com, and I cover a variety of topics from hidden archaeology to current politics, financial and monetary policies, geopolitics. I have contacts all over the world, from friends who are economists in Europe to, in fact, somebody that I'm very excited to come in contact with about 6 months ago, who I know to be a very, very credible contact within the embedded FBI in West Texas and El Paso and the border towns. And so I have some overwhelmingly compelling information coming in from the drug war on the border towns in Texas, from the Mexican army crossing over into Texas to the drug cartels taking part in some very extensive warfare. The American citizens, and even in Texas citizens, have no idea what's going on. And so have some very, very credible, very resourceful people all over the world that I'm in contact with. And I report these things on my blog too. So you can find all kinds of information there. I think that what you guys are doing is such a big deal, and it's so important for people to realize that. And in fact, I'm working on a book right now. Hopefully, will be out by the end of the year. But discusses some things along the lines of the fish tank that we live in. We think that if you think about a fish tank that you have at your house, a 5-gallon fish tank with maybe an underwater castle and a treasure chest, and an underwater forest with some little plastic leaves and some flora. We think it's all about this forest that we see, and we think it's all about this castle and this treasure chest that we see. And we, imagine if you went to the goldfish in your fish tank, and you told him that there was this thing called a blue whale.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'd be impossible for them to imagine.
There's no way he could imagine that. Matter of fact, what would he tell you? He'd probably tell you were crazy.
Of course.
It's absurd.
I have one request for you, Max, which is that where I'm calling from right now, I don't have the ability to write because I'm driving. But I would love to know more about your blog. So if I could give you my email address, and this is, for any of the listeners, if anybody wants to be in contact with me, here's my email address. And if you wanted to send me a link to your blog, I'd love to take a look at it. And my email address
right now is on my iPhone here. All right, I'm in my notes section. Go ahead.
Okay. My email address are my initials, S as in Scott, C as in cat or Catamas, at lovecoachscott.com. SC at love, L-O-V-E, coach, C-O-A-C-H, Scott, SCOTT.com. That's my website. And if you could email me the link to your blog, and if anybody else listening wants to make contact, be patient. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. I get a lot of emails, but either myself or my assistant will get back to one of you. And I'd like to take a look and add your blog to my favorites page. Get a chance to look at it sometime.
Absolutely, and I would definitely enjoy that as well. I just want to let you know that it was actually Brian that sent me a friend invite via my Facebook here recently, and I think we have some mutual friends on Facebook, and it was actually Brian that turned me on to your show. I actually called in tonight because of a message I got from Brian, and so this is kind of a first contact point for me as well. And I just want to let you guys know that through this contact here, and Brian and I haven't been in contact really extensively, but through that contact point, you guys have really received someone who's going to be tuned in on a consistent basis, someone who's very involved, someone who's very dedicated to the cause of awakening people to multiple faces of reality, from a political standpoint, from a spiritual and intellectual standpoint, and just from a standpoint of righteousness, to teach people to stand for something so that they don't fall for anything. And I hope to hear from you both. I'm just absolutely beside myself with ecstasy to be able to take part in this kind of a movement. And I think that it's a great thing, and that we're going through a great point of awakening right now. And it's just been an excitement so far. So thank you guys very much.
Well, I sure would encourage you and Brian and any listeners. Two things. First off, I can also be reached on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. Be patient. I've got about 150 friend requests pending, so I've got to put aside a day to just go through all of them. But I can be found on Facebook, and I do stay in connection with people by Facebook. And on a bigger level, I mentioned before the Disclosure Project. And Max, what you're talking about, your understanding of needing to kind of show that the emperor has no clothes, to help people really awaken to the bigger picture of what's happening. And I'm very impressed with what the Disclosure Project is doing. They have major political figures. The former president of Italy is actively involved with them. They have former astronauts, military officials, people really coming out who are in the know, saying, yes, this is what's really happening. This is what's really going on with our government. This is what's really going on with the extraterrestrial thing. This is what's really going on with media manipulation, 911, some of the things that, and they're doing it in a way that's very grounded. They're not sensational. They're very mature. They can actually appeal to a conservative audience as best as just anybody could imagine. So definitely check out Dr. Stephen Greer and the Disclosure Project. And when you send me an email, I'll email you back a link if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do that. And I just want to say something out to everyone listening right now. Something that I feel is so important. A couple of things, and first of all, with a background in sales, I understand very thoroughly how the psychology of people works, and a lot of times we overlook that. And I just want everyone to understand right now, if you have achieved a level of enlightenment that you feel like maybe a lot of other people that you care about haven't achieved, maybe you see things that they don't see, and maybe you've experienced things that they haven't experienced, be a part of their awakening. And you can't do that necessarily through force-feeding them information and through hammering them over the head with this sledgehammer of information. A lot of times people don't